my name is Uni, I have a problem with overpromising, and welcome back to my Survival World series. And today we are standing on the tarmac of our... Where is that button? Okay, there it is. Oh, F5. Here we go. We're standing on the tarmac of our airport here. If you want to watch this, I have a video that can pop up in the right-hand corner there for you, so you can check it out. And this is a just simple little airport with 2 runways. We have a hangar for our airplanes. Check out the episode. It goes through everything. You get to see the interior of this building. But over here is where we're actually going to be working on stuff. And let's just take off here real quick. Now, this area over here was flattened out during one of my time-lapse talks from a while back. And the reason I flattened it out was, one, I needed time-lapse footage and I had nothing else going on. So I just attacked this place. And you can see I've left a lot of little chunks off the terrace face here. But another reason is I actually had plans for this area in the past. And you can see my unexplained pillar of stone there that I've just never acknowledged. This is part of the plan. This is going to eventually become like a little island that has some sort of feature on it. Not quite sure yet, but I have something in my head and I think it's going to look nice. But I need to move my conduit over there to work on it in the future. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we are working on this terrace right here. In fact, let's go ahead and hop into the sky again so you can see. This is the area I want to work on. And oh, excuse me, little guys. I'm trying to film an episode. And that'll teach you to mess with my recording session. Okay, anyways, so the plan is we're going to be making a little communal building right here on top of this terrace. And down below here, we're going to make a rock garden. I have been waiting for this to happen. I have wanted to make a rock garden for so long. I don't know why I've never done it. It's one of the things that I'm very passionate about. Rocks and things that will fill space in my single player world. And with this rock garden, we're going to have a whole bunch of cool little things. There's going to be a lot of white sand everywhere. In actual rock gardens, they'll rake the sand around like little features and such, but we don't have that ability, so we're just going to have to pretend that there's these little rake marks in the white concrete powder. But now that we have the idea all in our heads, let's go ahead and execute on it here and fly away to grab some milk because I need to get rid of this effect, which is going to be leaving soon. I'm going to have to drink potions now to get the ominous effect for raids, but there is a village. Oh, my goodness. There is a village right behind my airport there, and I don't want that thing getting triggered by any raids of any kind. So we're just going to take a little bit of cow's milk here and start up on our brand new sequence. I want to do a new style of editing for our time lapses. So let's fly back over and get going on this and see what we can make out of this area. And I'm out of sand. That's all the sand I have. I have used every last bit of it, from making all these walls to putting all of this sand dune terrace up here. And then, of course, all the sandstone walls up there. God bless. It is it's too much sand and I am poor once again. But have no fear. I have started live streaming here and I've been doing a challenge every Monday and Friday this week at 11 a.m. PST. I have been doing my new loot lock challenge and I'm trying to do it over the summer here. Maybe I'll continue it into the fall. We'll see what happens. But for now, I have just been trying that out. If you're curious as to what the loot lock challenge is, I would definitely try to tune in today. This video should go up at 8 a.m. But regardless, if you want to check that out, go ahead. I would really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and talk about what we have going on over here. So here we have the old ocean terrace. Now, when the sea level rose back in the day, it was all the way up to there, and that's what deposited all the sand and sandstone. But the mud is also not only deposited from earlier, it's also the high tide mark. Now, I've made this delta biome in the past, and if you notice, that same high tide mark kind of exists over here as well. You can see there's a bunch of cobbles that have been deposited by this stream, but it's also pretty much killed off all these plants here. So the high tide mark is present here as well, and all the leaves don't go down that far because they would just get knocked away by the water as the tide rises. Now, speaking of all this overgrowth, we have a nice mixture of all the moss, the grass, these mangrove leaves, and I believe these are either acacia or oak leaves. I'm pretty sure they're acacia, but that's pretty much it. Now, I forget what these plants are called in real life, but this is what you would see on an ocean terrace growing off to the side. It's a little bit windswept here and there, so it's kind of sparse, and it's got a nice little transition between. Now, this is all kind of undercut as well. As was said before, the high tide does rise, but it's also a little bit of erosion as well. And I've cut it off here because we're going to be doing, I hear some little guys down here. We're going to be doing a little bit more in the future off in this area. And I believe before the time lapse started, I had kind of made it seem like we were going to be building on here, but in fact, we're going to be making more of a delta biome in the future over here, along with whatever is going to be placed here. I haven't quite figured it out, but there's going to be a waterfall right here. If you saw in the time lapse, there is a little lake with a river going through. But you know what? Let's actually go up there. Why don't I just actually hop on up instead of just trying to point at it from like 30 meters away? Now, of course, don't worry, we'll get to the building as well, but here is the rock garden. This is pretty much a clean slate. I have a little bit more designing to do. We're going to finish that off today with a little bit of a twist and a twirly transition in the future. But let's hop up here. There's going to be a little staircase in just a minute. And hello, we also have our resident trader in... Whoa, are there two of you? What is this magic? How are you doing this? I don't understand. I'm just going to ignore it for now. But up here, we have an even wider area with a lot more space. There's going to be little stepping stones with some pressure plates going along here. There's going to be a bridge in just a minute. And then there's going to be a bunch of little bonsais and plants and rock statues everywhere. And this is our pond. Now, the pond, I did a little bit of work on already. And so it's a little bit greener at the bottom where all the algae is settling at the base. And then we have all the cobblestone for a lot of the stones that get washed down the stream, which will be coming from the mountain itself here. And then every now and again, you'll see I've placed stairs. Specifically in here, I've placed them where the stream actually butts up against these little cut edges. Or, oh man, I need to remember my hydrology from college here. This is the Thowag. It's the middle of the river, and it goes through here. And then this is the cut bank, I believe. And then this is the depositional bank. I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff gets deposited on banks, and then things get kind of eroded out from the cut bank here. You know what that means? That means that this should be actually over here. Make it a little more realistic now that I think about it. There we go. Actually, one more. How about that? Let's make it so that at least I can fulfill my geology days in Minecraft. And you know what? We'll do this guy too. I need this to be at least a little bit realistic for my own liking. There we go. Yeah, depositional bank, cut bank. Perfect. All right, well, enough of the geology talk. Let's go over to the actual building that we've made. The first thing that was made in the time lapse. Now, Before we do that, I just want to mention these walls are a little bit janky. I did that on purpose. I wanted them to kind of be a little wavy, going in and out, using these trapdoors as a way to kind of add a little extra height and depth to it. And then the sandstone walls kind of add some indents as well and make everything a little safer when the mobs come out. Lighting, pretty basic, but that's all you really need. Now we're into the building, and I've actually stolen some lighting from this because I needed it during the time lapse, but we can ignore that. This is the Eastern styled building that we have to start with, and it's going to be sort of like a communal area. I've had a design like this in my head for years, and I've never actually executed on it. I really wanted to add sort of a central area to this kind of place, and we're going to have some blocked off rooms with thin walls that go through here, little areas you can meet up in the back. There'll be a little mini rock garden right here in the center. And then I've got some streamer ideas that go across, kind of like what we did back over in our Hexagon City, which if you haven't seen that, I'll put a little card up here in the right-hand corner. But going back out to the outside here, if we get a little bit of elevation, we'll be able to see a little more detail in those towers that we've built. And as soon as I can find the emeralds to get more of the bells, maybe I'll go out and find some villages to pillage. We'll have a nice little area to put in some bells and streamers and all sorts of things up here to make it even more colorful. Because right now it's two different colors. They're very much a wooden tone. So we'll have to add that in just a little bit here. And speaking of adding things in, let's go ahead and do a nice transition. I think I have an idea. If we hop down through here in this little middle area of our building, we'll be able to just do a spin. Oh, ow. Oh, that was a bad idea. I almost rolled my ankle there for a second. Well, at least I got this nice new rock garden to hang out at and recover just in case. But there it is. We got the whole thing done. The entire interior is complete. And I went with a nice little tea aesthetic for the interior here with this table where people can sit down and drink some herbal teas and whatnot. And then, of course, we have the rooms that I had mentioned before with some pots strewn throughout, little lanterns here and there. I have them also in the corner. Very simple design. One thing that does bother me, though, is the windows aren't exactly aligned in here. But in here, it is perfectly centered. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, you get what you get, and that's about it. But here we have just some simple pots, a little table here, little table there. Nice big open space right here. I've got some shelving that I could put some flowers on in the future. But for now, this is pretty much it with a little bit of the streamer action going on above head, which we will check out from a distance not too long from now. But I went with the cool design of all these little stepping stones that you can come through. You can pass through here, go in and out, whatever you'd like to do. And then these cool little statues of rocks here and there with pebbles strewn all throughout. And it's just a nice little area. This being my favorite little rock statue, by the way. I like the way this looks, and I don't like walking around in here too much because of all the pressure plates, but yeah. And now we get to check out the outside, which not much has changed on the exterior of the building, but the streamers look really cool from up here. Let's actually head up. All right, let's just go over here to the waterfall area and just take a little peek. And actually, I forgot they unload here and there, but you know what? We'll fly through so we get a better view. So right here, everything's unloaded. Then the signs all load in all at once. And we might even make a little lookout point up here in the future because I like the way that these streamers look from a distance, but they're mostly made to be viewed from down below if you're standing in this little corridor, so you can get a nice little aesthetic to the area. And I've got them color coordinated, of course, but for now, we've got one last thing to do for today's episode, and that is over here in the actual rock garden where we will be decorating, adding foliage, and making this place feel alive. So let's just do one more little switcheroozy here where I just change my camera, and just like that, we now have an entirely complete rock garden surrounding us. Let's go up our nice little fancy stairs, which, by the way, I like this little design. It is a bit different. I don't normally have stairs that hop up like this. There is one other set over in our hexagon city across this way behind that mountain there. But before we go up here, there's a lot to talk about up here. Let's just focus in on what's going on in the lower section. I made this little custom tree with a lot of the warped wood here. One of my favorites to make trees with now, ever since I made the sandalwood tree. This stuff is just great. And I wish that Minecraft would add in more blocks that are leaf-like, that are also half-slab-like, or at least some sort of green block, maybe a green moss block that isn't just like a thin slice like this stuff here. I want to have some half-slabs and stairs that I can use to make more custom trees, but for now, this is all we've got. But it works for what we need. And then we have all these little tiny rocks and stones everywhere scattered throughout to add a little bit of life to, well, not much life, more of just the absence of life, but you know, it's nice and aesthetic. There's a lot of pleasing shapes going on. In fact, I have my map here, and you'll see down there, if I actually step outside of the area, you can tell there's this really cool little pattern going on, and I need to connect the other map up to this. But for now, we also don't quite have a waterfall going through this area yet. That's going to be another day for another project, which is going to involve all this area. We mentioned before, we're going to be extending out all the delta biome to this side as well. But as I said, that's for a future video. Now let's go ahead and check out the upper section. Now this is perfect timing. The sun is setting, and I think this place actually looks a whole lot better at nighttime because of all the lighting. But let's peek over through here. This is the bigger area, and we have so much more going on. Lots of more rocks. In fact, I've got a few things I want to adjust here. But here we go. The same concept. There's a lot of little stones everywhere. There's all these little monoliths. And then I added in this really neat little, I'm not sure what to call it. It's kind of like a lantern sort of shrine thing. But then over here, we have our pond. Now, I do still need to add some axolotls to this, but I'll do that in just a second. But all the way around here, we have all these bushes and everything, and just an assortment of these two types of flowers with a bunch of ferns and grass and podzol for everything to be placed on, and then just a bunch of oak leaves everywhere as well. But let's go ahead and grab some axolotls while the night falls and come back when this place is glowing. And here are my axolotls hanging out in this random pool out in the middle of nowhere next to a mangrove swamp. But I was trying to get the blue axolotl. I have to go over to this coral reef over here to get some tropical fish in order to breed them. But so far, I think I've bred like 100 and still haven't found one. However, I think it's a 1 in 2,000 something chance to even get one. But let's just grab a few little buddies here while we're in the area, and then we'll bring them back over. Now, something I forgot to anticipate is as they swim around, they're going to be hitting all these little drip leaf things, and that's going to make a ruckus. But you know what? That's okay. It adds kind of a little bit of life to the place, you know? But this entire area should be mob-proof, I believe. I've walked around and checked all these dark spots, and they're no darker than a 2 on the light scale. So we should be all good. I think we're safe. But this is pretty much it for today. We have no more plans until later on. I wanted to work on some more projects, maybe over at the Hexagon City. I do also want to update to the new update that came out today as I am recording this, but I have to wait for the replay mod in order to be able to do my time lapses. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. But like I said earlier in the episode today, I'm doing a lot of live streaming. And when I upload this, I should be live streaming a few hours later around 11 a.m. PST on Friday, and as well on Monday, 11 a.m. PST. So if you want to check it out, I would be very much appreciative if you would come in and say hi in the chat just to check out a few seconds. You know, we're doing the loot lock challenge, and I appreciate everyone who has supported me along the way here, and I have so much more planned. And what happened? Did I look at that guy? I did. Okay, let me take care of him. But anyways, my name is Uni. I am jogging it out today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys next time.